Kaya, everyone. My name Susie. My name is Susie. I'm the coordinator of Walyalup Kannajil, and as mentioned, Kobe Morrison is our music and cultural director. Just to give you a brief history of how we came about, back in 2018, one of my other roles is I support Greg. He's a pretty awesome artist, and we were looking to either find or create an opportunity that basically was around music and also around Greg's Noongar heritage. And that's how we kind of came in touch with the Majidal Morna choir, who are based in Forestfield. So Kobe's a part of that choir as well with his mum Della Ray Morrison. And basically we set up two 8-week terms down at the Fremantle PCYC. So it was a very inclusive and open series of one-off workshops where we had a number of the Nelson residents coming along to our workshops. And we had about 90 people attend over the 16 weeks, which was a massive. I hadn't intended that it would continue, but with so much support and so much success, basically we decided to set up the choir in 2019 as kind of a more permanent fixture. So we've been running since then. Greg plays the as you saw, the didgeridoo accompaniment for the choir, and we're made up of members of all different ages and all different cultural backgrounds, etc. So essentially what we do is, with Kobe leading us, we basically learn about Noongar culture, Noongar history and Noongar language through song, and we do that through a weekly singing workshop started at the PCYC. We also have special guest local elders and also musicians that come along to share their experiences, their stories, and also some of their songs. In addition to that, we also occasionally do a songwriting workshop. We did one recently on translating songs into Noongar. We also do performances in Fremantle and around the Perth metro area, so events like the one-day event in Fremantle, which is an alternative to Australia Day. Trying to think what else we do. We do quite a lot of things. In addition, I guess more recently we've added a language class with Sharon Gregory, who's a local Wodjuk Noongar Yok or woman. And Kobe and I have also recently been working on a choir collaboration project where we've been working with 5 other local choirs, where basically Kobe is gifting songs from our repertoire and also taking a song from the choir's repertoire and translating them into Noongar. So it's been quite an amazing project that we've got a performance coming up at the Fremantle Festival in August that will showcase the work that we've been doing. I guess when I kind of prepared for tonight, I was trying to think of the best way to kind of describe what we do, and I guess just a number of words came to me, and so I'm just going to read them out to you. So the ones that kind of came forward were like truth-telling, reconciliation, decolonisation, celebration, inclusion, connection, friendship, well-being, joy, and a sense of community and belonging. Those are the words that pretty much describe what we do. And we're not just kind of, I guess we are a choir, we meet weekly, but we actually are much broader than that as well. I guess we all take what we do into our own personal lives. So we kind of share what we learn with our friends and families, we take it into workplaces, we take it into schools, we take it into communities, and we also gather as a community within ourselves. We often refer to ourselves as a family or as a mort, where we basically go to events that are focused on Noongar heritage and culture, like the Danju Kulin Summit, which is an annual summit led by elders at UWA. We often go to various First Nations plays together and those kinds of things as well. So we do kind of expand much broadly. So I guess, there's kind of, I didn't really have an idea of what we'd turn into in 2018. It's kind of taken a life on its own. That's kind of just a brief kind of history and overview of what we do. The first song that we sung was actually called Wanju My Friend, and you would have seen that we were doing Auslan as part of that as well. We do that for a few of our songs. And that was written by George Wally, who's based down in Mandurah. And the next song that we're going to sing together is called The Acknowledgement Song, which is a song written by one of our members, Gemma King, who unfortunately isn't here tonight because she is waiting for her PCR test, which is a shame. But Gemma basically wrote the song on local Wadjuk country with guidance from elders including Auntie Marie Taylor, Marinda Hanson, and also Kobe's mum, Della Ray Morrison. And it's basically a song that aims to provide respect to local custodians of the local land where we're meeting or where we're performing, and also to kind of pay acknowledgement to their ongoing stewardship or connection to country. So Gemma's got an amazing website, acknowledgementsong.com, and she makes it available freely for anyone who'd like to utilise it. So I encourage you, if you'd like to tap into that. So yeah, the Acknowledgement Song.
Kai Mort, how are you? Good? That's good. Kaya, Nyanang Kobe. Happy to be here tonight. Nyan Jeb, Nija, Court, Nija Windang, Bujra, Nyan Jeb, Jinang, Nunuk, Nunuk Bandang, Berdia, Nyan Court, Jinang, Nunuk, Berdia, Nyalang, Mila, Biddy, Quabadak. I'm so happy to witness all you. Basically, what I'm saying is that my heart is happy to be witnessing so many leaders doing so many wonderful things. It's one of my favourite things about being a part of Inclusion Solutions, being invited back to Inclusion Solutions. Is just being able to witness so many different stories from so many areas of the Wajak Nation and Australia, just doing some beautiful things. So, like I said, my name's Kobe, and I wasn't really sure to put as the subtitle under my name, so I just kind of chose these words because I figured that these words are more or less relevant to everybody in this room at least. It's Kenak Malayan. Can you guys say Kenak? Malayan. One of culture. And each and every one of us is an individual comprised of multiple cultures. You know? I'm comprised of multiple cultures. I am comprised of Nyunga. And within the Nyunga culture, I'm comprised of 4 cultures, which is Minang, Gorang, Kannajil, and Bilman. All right? And I've been born and raised on Wajak lands. Some elders feel comfortable enough calling me Wajak, but, aside from that, I'm also Irish and German and English, There's so many different cultures, all just, in this vessel, right? And then on top of that, I very proudly belong to the culture of music. That's why I have that thing on my back. I like to call it a Yeti Midi. Can you guys say the word Yeti Midi? It means song thing. I like to call it a Yeti Midi, and it's really fun. I belong to the culture of music. This is the first culture that I had deliberately identified with. Like, I became more sound and belonging to the culture of music before I started understanding the cultures of my background, such as Nyunga, And so most of what I do is through the form of song and through the form of music, because I noticed that this is one of the most universal cultures that is adopted and accepted by so many different people in the world, And it really is one of those reminders that makes us, reiterate that we are not so different, that we all belong to a culture together, some sort of culture. At the very least, we belong to the culture of humanity, all right? At least. And then amongst that, there's so many different cultures, There's the overarching cultures, and then there's cultures within cultures. This is all this stuff is what I talk about. It's complex, but we understand it, So this is some of the choirs that I'm a part of. All right, so that's us in pretty much our first year, I think, of operating, Walyalup Kannajil, gorgeous people. I'm more than proud to be able to call them my people, and I hope that I'm, one of their people as well, And the same can be said about Majuramona, Kundam, Waranwarankin, and Delmo. So you might be, So there's some of these people. And so Majuramona been going on for about 15 or 16 years or so, and it was founded by my mum, Della Ray Morrison. And I was about, 11, 12 or so. And more or less I was just coming to choir, sitting in the corner, doing my homework and pretending the choir wasn't there for some reason, I don't know. And then eventually I started bringing my guitar to choir, and now I'm co-coordinator alongside my mum. And aside from that, I'm running the choir, Kundam Choir, which is the offspring choir for those who are, teenagers and young adults who are a little bit intimidated by Majuramona. We all, gather on occasion. And then this is Della Mob, which is another grouping that's run by my mum and I play guitar for. Being supported by Wasso, I guess. And and so all these groupings, it's a culture within itself, Like we operate and we gather at the under a particular context of these, cultures, but then we end up forging something that's particularly unique to ourselves. So the Walyalup Kannajil is a unique, specific culture. Inclusion solutions, unique culture. You know what I mean? And the same can be said about all these other groupings as well. When you operate within a particular culture and you feel a sense of belonging as a grouping, you feel like you're able to operate with truth. You feel to be able to operate with confidence, with understanding, with care, with love. All right? And this is some of the huge motivations with some of the initiatives that I run and co-run. Some of these initiatives, they try to highlight very important things like you are not alone, Like some of the stuff that Lily was talking about during her presentation about having the importance of having bonding within your athletics group. That is relevant to so many groups. That should be relevant to all the groups. Having a sense of bonding, having a sense of care with your people. having a sense of care, feeling confident enough to be able to say, I care for those people. You know, when you have a sense of care with individuals and understandings within your whole grouping, you feel comfortable enough to do pretty much everything together. You know what I mean? So, like, most of the time we're called a choir, but was it ever just that? You know what I mean? Like, it never is just that. We feel comfortable enough to, you know, go to movies together, go out to dinner together. We often go to, like, you know, sometimes the art gallery when it's like revealed. Sometimes it has been on recently, which was really fun, and won't go to that one. Just so you guys know. And you know, being able to do everything together, like Fiwa, you know, when everything that you guys do, like, it's exponential. You know, it's gorgeous to be able to see how all-encompassing a grouping can become when they're so tightly bonded together. You know, together. And when you feel a sense of strength and love in your initiatives, you know, much like how, you know, Penny felt a sense of, you know, strength within soccer and football, you know, and being able to operate with confidence about it and being able to talk about it on a regular basis on the radio, you know. When you're so passionate about something because you feel that sense of care and love, and people are inspired by that, such as myself, it's just like you operate with a sense of truth. And so, like, I try to hopefully do stuff like that. And so these are some of the things, you know, I've already mentioned Kundam, Kannajil and Majidamona. Kulong is an initiative in which we go into schools and we teach Noongar culture through song. And so on the next slide, you'll be able to see me and my team. So there's me, Kira, Sarah and Cesara. And we like to go into schools, primary schools, and now, as of late, early childhood and secondary schools. We like to teach music and we like to have the conversation and have music, you know, as our cornerstone of our truth-telling together, you know. And the same can be said for Yiri Yarkin's Murishwela initiatives, which is where we go into high schools and pretty much do the exact same thing, but instead of music, it's theatre, and we teach through theatre. And so that was one of our groupings that we taught last year at the Queen's Beach Baptist College. It was absolutely gorgeous. Those kids were really, really clued in, understanding. And yeah, right now at Propel Youth Arts, I'm known as a community liaison officer. This is a role that I'm currently advocating for. So they never had a role of community liaison. And so I was telling them that this is extremely important. And so right now I've just been, for Propel, I've just told them that they should just hire me at the absolute lowest rate that they can, and I just help build and form a fully fledged role that somebody else can, you know, eventually succeed me. And so, yeah, Propel is a wonderful, Propel Youth Arts. If you know of any kids in between 12 and 26, I definitely recommend you point them in their direction. You know, while it's arts predominantly, like, it's just a gorgeous, welcoming community as per usual. And so, yeah, it's been really, really lovely working with them. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh yeah, so the music that a majority of the music that I do, I've been songwriting for about a decade now, and I noticed that a lot of the songs that I write are like, they kind of end up becoming all-encompassing because they're a bit of a reflection of like me and, you know, my identity, my understandings towards the world, my soul essentially. And I noticed that there are some that were very different from others, and that's why I decided to operate under multiple different titles, such as Kortal, which means with heart in Yunga. Endeavourous is my folk pops band, and the Bell and the Bow is a project that me and my partner Annabelle run, which is like, you know, EDM music, and as of late, Cardigan Phase, which is lo-fi music that doesn't have any lyrics that can hopefully be appreciated by anybody, no matter what language they speak. And so, yeah, if you feel compelled to, like, please check out some of the songs. One of my recent releases is called Yay, Ye under Kortal, which is Ye in Nyunga means now. I had written this song, I had written Ye because it was extremely, you know, I just wanted to get it. I wanted to start now. Like there were so many different things that we want to do, you know, and like the reason why I wrote this song was that, you know, for anybody who's listening to it, I would like them to see this as the sign if they were ever looking for a sign to start that project. Like this is it, you know, and yeah. So as I said, like music is a huge part of my culture. There's so many different things that I would consider a part of my culture, you know. So like aside from music and my cultural backgrounds, you know, I'm a part of like video game culture and books culture, you know. I like being out in nature and walking and exploring. That can be a culture within itself as well, you know. So it's been really lovely to be able to walk with such confidence and with such truth and care, and be able to iterate and reiterate to pretty much anybody that I meet, you know, that I more or less care, right? Because that's sometimes a thing that's not always said. You know, the gesture of care is not always present. Even if that person does care, sometimes they don't mention it, and then as a result, the other party ends up assuming that maybe the care is not there. You know what I mean? So, traditional Wajak Nyunga nation, as well as surrounding nations, we were able to operate under the assumption of care for one another, you know. And it sometimes can be lost as a result of very different cultures operating on a very different scale. And that's why I think that as of, you know, where we are at today, being able to reiterate the gesture of care in the way that you know how to, like, do that as much as you can, and you'll be able to see the world change and respond for the better as a result of it. So we have a song that my mum had written called Universal Love. She had written it in about 1997, and in 2017 I translated it into Nyunga. And this was the first song that I have ever translated, warts and all. So as you see it right there, that's exactly the way that I had translated it in what I believed was the correct stuff. There are so many things wrong with it because I was still very early in my days. And so I had a chat with my mum and I was just like, maybe I should update it or do something about it. And she's like, no, this is a step. This is a very important step, and this is a callback to this important step to see where you're at in comparison to where you are now. And where I'm at now, I'm stoked to be able to write in Nyunga. I'm stoked to be able to sing in Nyunga and speak in Nyunga, you know. And I want to be able to achieve the same for Gaelic Irish and German as well. You know, these are important stuff. It's important things that shouldn't be lost on us. All right, I'm going to get you to repeat after me with these lyrics. But before we do so, I'll get you guys to do a tongue twister, because this is a tongue twister that we like to do when we do our warm-ups for choir at the start of every choir. Can you guys say Nyalang? Nakalak. Karak. Nyalang nakalak kadak. Not bad. Nyalang nakalak kadak. This translates to, we are the holders of knowledge. We are the holders of knowledge. Together. Alright? Nyalang nakalak kadak. Manda wunya. Ni gerelde. Yel nyalak. Jinang mila. Danju gora. Waja Kenya. Court Barabara. Buramo Garam. Penyin Malyak. Wangam Wama. Ken Mondiwin. Kajan. Alright. Sweet. Let's give it a go. Well done.